All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the return episode of Hate Live for May 14th, 2017. If you haven't seen it yet, part 1 discussed a plethora of topics, including the return of the podcast, why it was away for so long, why it came back, the status of my business. I talked a little bit about U.S. politics and news there. I talked about gaming news, and I talked about WWE. So there's a lot covered in that first part, about an hour and a half long segment. We're now heading into part 2. Quick agenda for this part, so you guys know. It's going to be a discussion of my schedule coming up for the next several weeks. So basically, the first part of this video, or this part of the stream, or podcast, is going to be the week in preview plus. So it's going to be the week in preview plus, even moving forward past the normal time frame of the week in preview, okay? And then we're going to talk about the whole situation regarding me trying to find the best MCN / partner network for my channels on YouTube recently, and the whole situation of what happened behind the scenes, my experience being with or without an MCN to let you know the difference. And then the final segment of the show is going to be open Q&A with the stream chat, okay? Fair enough? All right, let's begin. Okay, so first off, let's talk about gaming schedule and everything that you can expect. Today is Sunday, May 14th, all right? What can you expect coming in the next week and in the next several weeks leading into June? Well, the big new release this week is Injustice 2. Okay, the giant new release that's happening that everyone wants to see is Injustice 2. I'm very excited for it. You know, super pumped. I've been playing the Injustice 2 app released the other day, and after a day of it not working, I finally got it working on my phone. I've been playing that a little bit and seeing the characters ahead of time, which is pretty neat. Injustice 2 is going to be good, in my opinion, simply because it's from NetherRealm. Now, if you're not aware, NetherRealm, when they put out a fighting game, they don't just focus on, oh, it's a competitive fighting game, and therefore there's an online mode, and that's it. That's what they did with Street Fighter V last year when Capcom put out that game, and that game flopped tremendously per the standards of any mainstream fighting game. NetherRealm knows better, okay? NetherRealm likes fan service. NetherRealm likes to basically put out games that are both for people who just are going to play the game casually at home and people who are going to play the game competitively online and offline. So it's the best of both worlds, and that's why when you spend $60 on a NetherRealm fighting game, you're really getting a bang for your buck, versus last year if you bought Street Fighter V and you were looking for anything but a competitive one-on-one fighter, you got screwed over, okay? So that's the main thing for this week. However, let's talk schedule-wise what you can expect this week, okay? Today, after I finish with Hate Live, I'm uploading it to the King of Hate vlogs. I'm actually going to put timestamps and everything in the description of the video so you know where to jump around to see parts of Hate Live, alright? Oh, shout out to Dooley258, who just did a 500-bit cheer and said Injustice 2 hype. He's now tied with Keycon3 as cheerleader for today's stream. Alright, so, tonight, I'm working on a few things. I'm not going to do a week in preview because I'm literally doing the week in preview right now in this video. But tonight, I'm going to edit and finish up my review for Prey, which I started yesterday, and that's going to be released on KO Gaming later tonight, okay? And I'm going to work on a few other KO Gaming videos. If you're not aware, 3 different people have now submitted KO Gaming montages to me of their various playthroughs. One of them is actually kind of a semi-montage of all the stuff that I've played in the past 2 months. Basically took some of the best parts of the past 1 to 2 months of gameplay and did this cool cumulative montage of it. Another one is the best parts of my original Dark Souls 1 run. Not the redemption run that I did in January, but the original run I did in 2011. He went all the way back and took the best parts of that playthrough and made a video about it. So that's one that's going to be coming up. And I've got one that's really long. It's basically kind of a this is how you don't play style highlights of my Metroid Prime run, which I did, was it 2 years ago now? Yeah, because it wasn't last summer, it was the year before. So we've got 3 new videos coming up on KO Gaming. The thing is, I haven't recently had any time to work on it. Tonight, after I finish the Prey review, I'm hoping I have time, and I'm going to work on those and edit them, and hopefully over the next few weeks, you'll see maybe 1 a week on KO Gaming so that the content stays fresh there, okay? And then in addition to that, I know Keycon just mentioned it. He says, man, I got to submit my Outlast 2 video. Yeah, Keycon said he was going to do an Outlast 2 montage. And I also have a few other montages of the older stuff, like the throwback playthroughs, from the same person who made the ones for games like, what was it, Sniper Elite and those. The same guy that made those, he made a few others, and I haven't released those yet. So I have videos to release on KO Gaming. The problem is I've been too busy to edit them, but now I'm going to start to edit them starting tonight, okay? Okay, Tomorrow, Monday, is my day off from streaming. So I know that's kind of sucks because yesterday I was sick. I was not feeling well. I didn't stream yesterday. And now today, the only stream I'm doing is Hate Live, so there's no real new gameplay. Now tomorrow, again, yeah, I know, there's been a few dead days here, folks, and I apologize for that, but Monday is my day off. So Monday, I will not be live streaming anything, okay? But I'll be back full force on Tuesday with 2 streams of Injustice 2, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, that'll be May 16th, right? I'm just starting off with, as I always start off, the story mode. The story mode of Injustice 2. When I played the story mode of Injustice 1, people loved my playthrough because I was able to add perspective of the different characters. I joked around. I cannot wait to do the story mode of Injustice 2. I hope it's as good as the story of Injustice 1, alright? So that's what we're going to focus on that premiere stream on Tuesday. Now, Tuesday night, I'm also doing a stream of about 2 hours, starting around 7 p.m. Pacific time. That will be the continuation and maybe even the conclusion of the story of Injustice 2. I'm assuming the story mode's probably around 5 hours. Typically, for these NetherRealm games, the story ends up being around 5 hours. So if we finish early, then what I'll do is I'll try to investigate the other modes and stuff that's in the single-player content of Injustice 2. Wednesday, yes, this is going to be another 2-stream day for Injustice 2. Wednesday, the earlier stream will focus on maybe trying out a few characters that I played in the story mode. Maybe I want to bring them in the training mode and try to learn strategies and stuff with them. Or maybe trying out the single-player modes of the game. I believe there's a mode called Multiverse Mode this time around, which has the different versions of characters from the different DC universes that have existed, over time. So, yeah, that I will probably be doing Wednesday on my main stream. And then at night, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Here's how I want it to go down, okay? Hold on a second. I just got a tip. Drunk Driver 1488 just let me a $5 tip and says, "Hey, bud, I love Hate Live. By the way, I put a bunch of cool recipes on the forum so you can bring back Cooking with the King for all of us here. Really hope you find time to check them out and bring them back, our favorite series." I have not looked on the forums. I'll give it a look. We'll see. We'll see. I'm certainly not promising anything with all the stuff I got going on right now, but we'll see. I know that there has been demand for me to bring back some certain series, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday's kind of up in the air. We'll see. I'll probably be doing other offline modes, maybe trying out characters, maybe doing some online play. But basically, this entire week is going to be focused on Injustice 2, all right? Now, I've already been asked, am I going to be doing an open lobby where fans and viewers can join me to face me? Yes. I'll be doing that later in the week. What I need to do is obviously play with a few characters, find out the characters that I like the feel of, and get maybe a few, like 3-4 characters who I feel comfortable with maybe playing competitively before I set that up. I'm not just going to flub and start playing in a lobby before I even know what I'm doing with any characters, okay? So that's going to be later in the week, and Venomous Fat Man, my friend of mine, longtime viewer, is actually covering the game for, he's a journalist now, and he's covering it, and he wants to play a set against me later in the week once we both had a chance to play the game and get a little bit better at it. So maybe around, say, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometime during the weekend, I will be doing a set with him. I'm also sure that some other people, for example, I haven't spoken with him yet, but, Brian, who I've done fighting game footage with over the time, Brian Daniil, may also want to do some sets. And that's the thing, if there's people who I know who are playing the game and want to play against me, I'll do sets against them, and that's good. You'll get a variety of gameplay from me, but other people playing me as well. And yes, I will also be doing online multiplayer lobbies where people can join and face me, or I'll just be doing random online multiplayer as well. The bottom line is I need to do all of this, because in order to review the game properly, I need to have played every single mode and seen like every facet of the game. So the good news is, doing that, not only is it going to be tons of fun variety gameplay of Injustice 2 all week, but also it's going to allow me to fully review the game eventually. So that's good stuff. Now, here's the thing. I'm fully aware that Injustice 2 is not the only thing that's being released this week, alright? We've got a game called The Surge. This game is from the makers of Lords of the Fallen, which immediately I have to kind of like go, oh no, really? The makers of Lords of the Fallen made another game? Because if you're not aware, Lords of the Fallen was a attempt to make a game similar to Dark Souls about, what was it, I want to say it was late 2014 or 15, I can't remember. But it was so buggy at launch. There were characters disappearing, people falling through holes in walls. It was the wonkiest piece of crap ever at launch, to the point where I was so pissed that I bought it, I made a video about making fun of it, basically saying how terrible the game was. So honestly, I have no idea how this new game, The Surge, is going to be. People are saying it's similar to Dark Souls, which I'm like, again, another game they're making that's similar to Dark Souls, really. But some people are saying it's not, that it's different, it's a corridor with a bunch of monsters in it. I don't know. So I'm curious about it. And let's say I get through halfway through the week and I'm liking Injustice, but maybe things are getting a little bit stale because I'm just doing Injustice all week. Then maybe I'll start playing the Surge and mix it in there. Okay, we'll see. We'll play it by ear and we'll see how things go. Now, I believe there was another release this week called Farpoint, which is a PlayStation VR game. I guess you're supposed to be exploring an alien planet. I'm interested in it, but I'm not going to drop Injustice 2 to play Farpoint. That would be something that if, let's say, later in this month things get slower, which we're going to talk about in a moment, then I would consider maybe playing Farpoint. But for now, definitely this week, the major focus is Injustice. And then if that starts to get stale or die out or people want variety, then maybe I'll mix it in with the Surge. So that's going to be the main focus for this week, okay? And yes, like I said, I can't wait because Injustice is going to have offline gameplay, story, multiverse mode, but also online gameplay against the viewers, against random people that it matches me with, against people that I know. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of variety this week, and I'm very much looking forward to it, okay? All right. Now, next week, there's really no major new releases next week at all, okay? Brian is watching the podcast and just texted me. He says he's definitely down to play some sets of gameplay this week in Injustice 2. I figured as much. I didn't know he was watching the podcast live, but I figured as much. So, awesome. I look forward to playing with you, Brian, later this week. Sweet. Okay. Next week, there are no major releases until Friday, which is May 26th, which is the release of Friday the 13th. Now, Friday the 13th is going to be an online-only game at launch, but apparently they're adding in a campaign mode later. So that means all of next week, I literally could do whatever I want. If I'm really liking Injustice 2 and I want to keep doing sets and keep playing the game, I have the ability to do that, the flexibility. If maybe I'm burnt out on Injustice 2 and I want to take time away, I could focus on the Surge, right? Or maybe I'll try out Farpoint. Or another option here, I could play Persona 5, right? People are liking the Persona 5 playthrough. It's certainly not getting the mainstream attention of a AAA game, but there are people who are liking it and want to see it continue. I could maybe mix in a few sessions of Persona 5. Okay? So, that's the deal, is this week coming up, mostly Injustice, maybe the Surge. The week after that, probably more Injustice, probably the Surge, maybe some Farpoint, maybe some Persona 5. And then at the end of the week, I'll be trying out Friday the 13th, all right? Now, at the end of this month, at the very end of this month, there's a couple things that are going to go down. First of all, on May 30th, Star Trek VR, I think it's called like the Bridge Crew VR, is releasing. I am honestly really interested in this game. And the reason is because I am a fan of Star Trek. In fact, recently I've been watching Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I really enjoy. They're both free. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, they're actually both free. So I've been really enjoying those series, and I want to, I like that. I'd like to simulate being in Starfleet and doing that kind of stuff. That would be like right up my alley. Plus, there could be some hilarious situations with aliens and stuff. Maybe we'll see. So I'm very interested in doing the Star Trek VR game. So more than likely, yes, I will be doing that near the end of this month. Okay. Also near the end of May, that last week of May, probably the last weekend, so right around that same time that I'm playing Friday the 13th, I am going to be doing a marathon stream day, and it's going to be me and the patrons playing Jackbox Party Pack. It's kind of a Twitch and chill event, but I looked at it, there's maybe about, out of the people who want to participate in the event who are patrons of mine, it's not enough to say constitute a 7-hour event. So what I think I'm going to do is it's going to be half where I just play with them for a few hours, right? And then I'm going to open it up, so it's going to be half patrons and half open people, so it'll be people to come in to basically, it's patrons versus the world, okay? Which I've never done before in Jackbox Party Pack. That could be really neat, to have the patrons facing off against other groups. As you know, there'll be some negative element there, people there to troll. That could be a really fun event, and that's coming up near the end of this month as well, okay? Okay, now, there's a few elephants in the room to address. Number one, I am well aware that Call of Duty is releasing this week a Zombies Collector's Edition pack. What they're doing is they remastered all of the Zombies maps from Call of Duty World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, and they redid them in the high resolution for modern consoles on PS4 and Xbox One, and that's releasing this week for about $30 on Xbox Live and PSN. My friend Corchado contacted me and said he would be interested in playing it, but that was before this thing had a price tag. I haven't talked to him since then. $30 to me seems really steep. You know what I mean? Like, these are all maps that people have played before. I've played most of them. And for me to shell out $30 to replay things I've already played in the past is kind of like, you know? And also, it's not like, for example, this was a PS2 game that now they're remaking for PS4 with updated graphics or whatever. It's just going to be minor tweaks because these were already on the previous generation of consoles, which ran in HD anyway. So it's not like they're adding anything or anything like that, you know? So I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I should even bother with this. I don't know if I played it again, if people would care about seeing me do zombie maps again that I've already done, especially because with everything else this month, right? Call of Duty, I said Call of Duty. Injustice 2 is what I meant to say. The Surge, Friday the 13th, and the other stuff I mentioned. Is anyone going to want me to drop some of that or delay some of that in order to go back and play Call of Duty zombie maps? I don't know. I'm curious. I'd like to hear your opinion. So obviously let me know what you think. If you'd be interested. But the bottom line is the last time I did zombies, no one really cared. Like the conclusion zombie stream that I did didn't get a lot of attention at all. So I'm wondering if it's even worth it, if people are really going to care or not. Now the other elephant in the room, folks, is the Neo DLC, which I was supposed to play and try to complete yesterday, but I was sick to my stomach and couldn't do it. Listen. The truth of the matter is this. Number one, I didn't really like the DLC. I thought that it was very uninspired. They didn't really add much new at all. And it really felt like it was kind of just a dialed-in DLC. You know what I mean? Like, phoned in. They didn't really put a lot of effort into it. Only 2 new enemy types. I mean, come on, really? And no, I mean, there was 1 new weapon I didn't even bother trying. It's not that good. It wasn't that good. I didn't like it that much to begin with. I've also been away from it for over a week. And the only thing left in that DLC is to finish the boss that I've already been fighting and 1 more boss, and that's it. So you're talking, even if I were to finish the DLC, it wouldn't even be enough really to maybe even fill a stream, depending on how tough that final boss is. So that being said, I don't know if I'm going to go back to it. It depends. Maybe one day I'll have a second session or stream or something that I don't really have anything for, and I'll be like, okay, I feel like doing it, but I'll be honest, I'm really not that interested in going back and finishing it. I don't think it was very good, which sucks because I bought the season pass for the game, and if the future DLCs are all going to be like this one, I don't even know if I'm going to bother doing them. It just wasn't very good. It was just kind of, oh, if you absolutely love Neo and you want to go back, do it. While versus, like, Dark Souls, usually these DLCs have amazing stories and totally new enemy types and totally new, you know what I mean, unique encounters. It didn't feel like that in this DLC. It just felt like it was kind of rushed, and with 2 new enemies squeezed in, that kind of sucked. So I really didn't enjoy it that much. I didn't, honestly. Okay? So I don't know. We'll see. I may do it. I may not. But I'm not. It's with Injustice and everything right around the corner. Playing the Neo DLC is not my concern right now. I've got to focus on what's the hype thing and what I'm interested in most. And it's not the Neo DLC. I'm just not too caring about it right now, honestly. All right? Now, June. Right now, June, it looks like it may be a slow month, but I'm not sure. And the reason I say that is I did my calendar update in early April. So I honestly don't know if between April and now mid-May if things have changed. But when I did my calendar update, okay, the things that I saw in June were Tekken 7, obviously releases on June 2nd. And yes, I'll be playing that and covering it just like I do all other fighting games. E3 is that middle week of June, and typically around E3, there are a bunch of surprise game releases that we weren't even aware of. So typically there's new stuff in the middle of that. Excuse me. And then at the end of the month, there's a few things possibly that could be happening. I know Ask the King will actually take place at the end of the month. I believe the Crash HD Trilogy is the end of the month. But as you just heard, there's not a hell of a lot going on in the realm of new games in June. So one thing I'll be doing in June is the Patrons' Choice playthrough, which right now patrons are nominating games for it. Pretty soon, like in a week or two, I'm going to turn that into a poll, and once that poll finishes in early June, I'm going to start the Patrons' Choice playthrough, whatever it may be, during the month of June, all right? So that's going to happen, definitely. Also, in June, I'm planning on possibly doing another event, but I'm not sure what. So we'll see. You know, there's a lot of things I could do in June. There's a lot of downtime stuff that I've been thinking of doing as well. Things that I've wanted to do and haven't had a chance to play. And a lot of things pop into mind. I could do a retro game like Final Fantasy IV, which I bought in January and never played. I could go back and do maybe a second run, like a Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin run, because I never played that version of the game with 60 frames per second and new enemies and bosses and stuff, and play it in a different way than the way that I played the original Dark Souls 2 run, which was all freaking dick lightning spears, right? I could do a lot. There's a lot of things that I have in mind for downtime this summer. So I'm not going to promise you anything yet, but you will definitely see Tekken 7 coverage. You'll see E3 coverage like I usually do. There will be some new games mixed in, but more than likely it's going to be kind of that balanced with whatever the Patron's Choice playthrough is, and then me playing the new stuff or a new event kind of deal, similar to like what I just suggested, okay? Yeah, I could do. Daniel Zui just suggested a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas second run. I could. Of course, I'd have to mute all the music, but I could do a San Andreas second run, you know, the HD versions now of the game. Stuff like that. I could do that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there, okay? So that's the rough schedule for the rest of May and into June. The good news is, if things keep going the way they're going, and people keep showing up for stream, and people keep, you know, participating in streams with tips and subs and everything, it won't even matter what I play. Like I said, the YouTube views that I've had, I haven't even cared about. I'm not looking at views on YouTube. I'm just uploading, and typically YouTube is generating a certain amount of revenue a day, which is decent enough when balanced with what I'm making on Twitch to support the business and pay my bills. So I really don't care if I'm playing a giant AAA release or I'm playing a rinky-dink replay of a game and you know, it doesn't get a ton of attention. As long as I can keep the consistency going, it doesn't matter to me anymore. It's not like I have to worry about, oh man, I can't play this particular game because it won't bring in views anymore. YouTube really has fallen and declined so much it doesn't matter. That's the truth of the matter. Oh yeah. Kate just suggested, what about finishing Ride to Hell Retribution? Yeah, that's what I would strongly consider. I think I would actually really enjoy finishing up Ride to Hell Retribution. Absolutely. That game was fun as hell for all the wrong reasons. Okay. Now, folks, let's get to the next segment. The full story on what's really been going on with me behind the scenes these past few months in regards to my YouTube channels and getting a new partner network and all of that, all right? Let's talk turkey. I'll be honest with everyone up front about everything that's going on, okay? Because there's some information here that you're not going to know that, you know, you need to know if you want to know the full story. If you don't care about this, you can skip it. There'll be a Q&A segment at the end of the show, but a lot of people have total misinformation on what's going on. Honestly, I don't even know what's been happening outside of what I've said. People tell me, oh, there's podcasts here and there. I don't even care. I'm not listening to the podcast. I'm just going to tell you the God's honest truth about what's been going on the past few months, all right? So, here's what happened, folks. Back in February, YouTube ad revenue plummeted. When that happened, I contacted my longtime partner network, Machinima, and said, can you get me an answer on what's going on with this? Because I need to know, because I can't pay my bills. And if I can't pay my bills, I'm going to go out of business. So this is a serious concern. And Machinima basically beat around the bush with me for 2 weeks to the point where they finally disrespected me and were talking down to me. And I realized at that point that it was time for us to part ways, because I'm not going to deal with any MCN that's going to basically be passive aggressive and insult me and treat me like a kid and basically tell me how to run my business. So enough was enough. And I told them, if you're going to keep acting like this to me, I don't want to be a part of you anymore. And so they released all my channels from their partnerships. So I was faced with a dilemma. I needed to get into another partnership right away, okay? Now, at first, I already had another partner network lined up that I wanted to partner with. This was a partner network that I'd been talking with for 2 years. 2 years, all right? And it was someone who I knew who had a business relationship already in the past, and the guy knew me, knew my content, liked everything about me, and was basically ready to put me into a managed partnership, give me a pretty good revenue share cut, and he was going to be my manager too, so I'd have a go-to guy to go to for issues and stuff. All this was going to happen, okay, and all this was looking good. But sadly, something bad happened, all right, and here's what happened, and this is the truth, and no one knows this. I didn't have his number, okay, I didn't have his phone number. What I have is I had his information on Twitter, and that was it. Like, I didn't have his personal... I wish I had his Skype. I really wish I had his Skype, but I didn't have that, okay? So the only method that I could contact this guy was via Twitter, but obviously, being that my channels were going to be unpartnered right away, at least DSP Gaming was going to be unpartnered from Machinima right away and not be making any money, I needed to find a quick solution right away, okay? All right. So, I contacted this guy on Twitter, both via PM, but I didn't know if he uses Twitter frequently, so I also publicly messaged him and said, hey man, FYI, I need to talk to you right away. Well, as you guys know, I have stalkers. I have mentally ill, fucked up in the head stalkers who literally follow my every waking moment and every piece of information on the internet, my social media, anything that I post in the comments of a video, anything that I post on my forums. They literally jump on it and find an opportunity to attack me. So what they did is they saw this one single tweet to this guy, they researched, they found out that he works for this certain network on YouTube, and they spammed the fuck out of the partner network with negative stuff. They were saying, Phil's a fucking racist, Phil jerked off on stream, Phil's a piece of shit, if he joins your network, we're gonna talk shit about your network, how could you even consider recruiting this guy? You guys are assholes, how dare you do this? So basically, they fucked me. They went on fucking social media and attacked this company. Now the thing is, this company wasn't a giant company. This company is a relatively small partnership network that was looking to actually, they had been trying to recruit me for 2 years. They wanted me to leave Machinima and come with them, but the thing is, they weren't going to pay me as much money as Machinima. So obviously it made sense for me to stick with Machinima for the length that I did, all right? So the problem is this company is small, and being a small company, if they were smeared with negative press, hundreds of people spamming their social media, fuck this company because they're getting DSP and, you guys are a piece of shit and all that, and basically making them look bad, all right? They basically couldn't recruit me. They had a meeting. There's a small group of people. It's not like this is a company with thousands of employees and all of this, right? So they all had an internal meeting about me. They said it was an hour-long internal meeting just about recruiting me. At the end of the meeting, they were like, we like Phil, we like his content, we know his content will bring in views and bring us money, but we're a small company and we can't be at risk of having Phil being with our company and then we're getting all this negative attention from his haters. And that was even the thing. The guy apologized to me up and down and was like, dude, I can't believe it because I like you and we all like you here, but the amount of assholes who follow you over the internet screwed you over. It's literally the only reason we can't recruit you and give you the managed partnership and everything you want is because of them. Because we got this giant negative backlash because they saw one tweet that you sent me. They figured that I was going to go with you, and they spammed the living shit, okay? Spammed the living shit out of it. Now, Sanguinite just did a 10-bit cheer, and he said, so basically that company caved into the haters and trolls. No spine. I disagree. No. The thing is, folks, a lot of these companies that are trying to get their foot in the door on YouTube, they're competing with giant monsters like Curse, like Maker Studios, like Full Screen, like, what's the other one? Scale Lab, I think, is huge. So they're competing with these giant MCNs who already have these established footholds on YouTube. They're actively trying to recruit people to their networks, okay? Wow, this is so dumb, because some idiot troll just did a cheer that is completely false, because I'm not even talking about Lavaria yet, just so everyone knows. I'm not. That was later. I'm talking about a different company altogether, that this happened up front, early on in February this happened, actually, okay? So that has nothing to do whatsoever with the future relationship with Lavaria. I'm going to explain all that, okay? But this company basically said we can't have negative press. We cannot have negative press. Okay? We can't, sorry, we want you in our network. We know it would help us financially, but we may not be able to recruit other people in the future if we have these hundreds of people attacking us daily for being assholes. By the way, those same people attacked Machinima every single day on their social media and everything for having me in their network, okay? They attack Loot Crate. They attack all these businesses that have partnerships with me. They actively go toxic shit. They just toxically shit over anyone who has an association with me to basically try to get them to not have an association with me and to have my business fail. That's fucked up. I don't even know these people. I've never met them. I've never personally heard any of these people. These people are so fucked in the head that they think that this is a good thing to do. This is the right thing to do, to fuck over my life, all right? So that's what happened at first, okay? So then in the meantime, when he told me, well, sorry, we can't recruit you right now. And by the way, he did say that in the future maybe, but I don't know. At this point, let's face it, we know that these people that stalk me are never going to stop. Never. So I don't think that I would ever be able to go with like a smaller company. I have to go with a company where that kind of shit doesn't affect them, right? So that's why I was looking at a few other companies. And there was a couple other companies that were considering recruiting me as well. But then they also, one other company turned me down for the same reasons, basically. They said, man, we just looked and your social media got blown up with negative people when you tried to go with this other company, so we can't recruit you either. We're in the same situation. All right. So finally, what ended up happening is I applied with Curse. Now, Curse is giant. For those who don't know, Curse is actually owned by Twitch, and Twitch is owned by Amazon. They're a giant company. They've recruited thousands of gamers on YouTube. Ads are running on people's videos from Curse. It's a giant network. So Curse doesn't give a shit. Does not give two diddly dicks that people are going to spam their social media saying negative things about me. They don't care. They're immune to that stuff because they're big enough to be immune to it, all right? They're not worried that they can't get more recruits because I'm with them. Okay, so, folks, that being said, I signed up with Curse, and that worked out. I signed up with Curse, and first DSP Gaming went to Curse, and then eventually KO Gaming went to Curse. And I'll be honest, immediately I started making more money than I was with Machinima. Like daily, I was making more money than with Machinima. So if you really want my honest opinion, I think that Curse has better advertisement contracts with certain advertisers, that people are running ads on Curse network videos, and those are more profitable than those that are with Machinima. I just think that that must have been the case. So immediately I'm thinking this is great, right? Money has gone up. So, as I signed with Curse, and this was probably, I'm not even lying, probably 2 days after I signed with Curse, I received an email. Now, the email was from a company I had never heard before. I never heard of them. I didn't know who they were. I'll tell you the name now. The name of the company was Pultavi, P-U-L-T-A-V-I. And I know everyone's going to fervently go on the internet and start searching for Pultavi right now. I did at the time because I'd never heard of them. So this guy wrote me and he says, Phil, I watch your vlogs and I actually just saw that you had joined with this Curse company. What are they offering you? And would you consider going with another network if they were to give you better terms or whatever? Okay. Now, I was incredibly skeptical. Okay. In fact, keep in mind, this started happening when I partnered with Curse, which was early March. No, I take that back. That was February. No, I think it was like the first week of March. Okay. So I talked with this company for 2 months before I decided to even take a chance with them. All right. So they say, okay, here's what we'll offer you. We're going to offer you a managed partnership. We're going to offer you a slightly higher revenue share than what Curse offers. And now, by the way, I hadn't asked for this or anything. None of this was anything that I have ever asked for. I was offered that what they were going to do out of their own, side, they wanted to do that, right? Was they were going to search the internet for when people made malicious, this is how you don't play videos. Not normal ones. It was a normal video and it's someone just being funny or whatever. But if you're looking at a video that's super malicious or whatever, they were going to search the internet for those videos. They weren't going to take them down, but they explained to me that apparently if someone's using my videos without my legal permission, that basically I cannot copyright strike that video down, but I own the ad revenue on that video. Now, I don't know if I agree or disagree with that. I think that that's a screwed up thing. But what they were offering me, which I never said that authorized them to do, but they were offering, they were going to mass claim people who were stealing my content and making videos with it and basically take ad revenue from it. So let's say, for example, someone makes a viral video that's totally negative about me. We'd both make money on it, okay? Now, keep in mind, I didn't suggest that. I didn't propose it, and I wasn't going to go along with it, but this is what they wanted to do up front, okay? And I was like, I don't even know how that works legally. You know what I mean? How could that work? I don't know legally if there's a grounds to do this or not. So that was just something that they offered, but I don't obviously know that that's the deal, that would have gone through or whatever, okay? So this is what they wanted to do. This is what they offered me. So I said, well, I wasn't going to even be serious with them yet. What I wanted to do was do research. And I looked on the internet and I found zero information at that time about this company, Pultavi. I had no idea who they were. I had never heard of them. And I couldn't even find any information about this company existing. By the way, shout out to CJ Euphoria, who just subscribed to the channel. Thank you, CJ Euphoria. So obviously I'm skeptical when I haven't heard anything from a company at all. I mean, obviously, who are they, right? So I actually went back to them and said, listen, what you're saying you're going to give me sounds great. I mean, it sounds like you're basically giving me every possible thing that I want, but I don't know anything about you and I don't see anything on the internet. Can you give me some information about who you are or whatever? Because I never heard of you. And they said, we're an upstart company. We're literally just getting our feet into the water here of YouTube. We're working with 2 or 3 other YouTubers like you who recently left their networks to recruit them. And we want to see if we can get these people to start building our network. Okay. That sounds okay, but at the same time, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Can you believe these people, right? So, after talking with them for about a week or 2 weeks, and now we're talking around mid-March or so, maybe heading into later March, I'm with Curse, and I'm liking the money I'm making with Curse, because I'm seeing, oh, this money's pretty good, but also I'm making the Twitch money because of the changes I had made. Keep in mind, at that point, I was doing Zelda Breath of the Wild and all that. The problem was with Curse, I was getting all my videos claimed, okay? All of my videos were being claimed. And it was like every Nintendo video, every copyrighted video, or every video that had copyrighted music, like licensed music in it, like Grand Theft Auto. Every day I was opening up my phone and getting 20, 30, 40, 50 emails about videos being claimed. And it was driving me nuts. I was like, I like the money I'm making with Curse, but this is crazy that my videos are getting muted, my videos are getting blocked. This is absolutely terrible that this is the situation. I can't believe that this is the case, okay? So I was so frustrated. I was like, maybe I should at least entertain this company, even though I've never heard of them before. Maybe I should entertain it. Let's see if they're willing to play ball, and let's see if they're willing to be serious. So I went back just on a whim, and I said, okay, let's talk. But in order for us to start talking, what you basically have to do is write up a contract, because us talking back and forth won't do anything. You have to show me that you're serious about partnering my channels. And by the way, I would only partner DSP Gaming with you if you would also partner KO Gaming under a managed partnership, because now you're talking 2 managed partnerships and more ad revenue. Those are enough positives for me to leave Curse and come with you. Okay? So they said, okay, we'll write you up a contract. And I waited about a week, and I didn't get a contract. And I emailed them back, and I'm like, by the way, this is all email communication so far. All email, purely email, okay? And I go back to them and I say, I didn't get a contract from you. What's going on? What's taking so long? Oh, don't worry about it. We're working on it. We're going to get you a contract. Don't worry about it. Okay, fine. I wait. Another few days go by. Still nothing. So these people are basically, they're trying to recruit me, but then when I just start to get serious about it, all of a sudden they like stop responding. So I'm thinking at this point, maybe it was fake, or maybe it was just they weren't serious about it, or maybe they're just not professional. I don't know. Finally, one night, in the middle of the night, okay, I finally get the contract. Now, this was still, I believe it was either, at this point, late March or early April. The very first contract I got was for well, let me put it this way. You would think it was for DSP Gaming, but I opened the contract up, all right? And it looks, at first glance, it looks like, oh, it's similar to the other contracts I've signed with companies like Curse or Machinima. But then I start to read it, and I realize this is like the most bootleg contract I've ever read in my life. There were spelling errors. There were major grammatical errors. The contract, I'm not exaggerating here, it didn't even reference my YouTube channel. It didn't even reference what the contract was for. It did say ad revenue, and it did say managed partnership, but it didn't say in the contract what channel. So I'm reading it, and I'm like, what? Like, what is this? This is so ridiculous. This is so unprofessional, right? Like, and I had to go back to them, and I said, listen, you know, if you want me to take this seriously, you got to fix this contract. Because I've seen these contracts before. With Machinima, I've seen multiple ones, and I just signed one with Curse. I know what's supposed to be in it, right? So I went back to them, and I said, this is such a mess. You have to fix this wording. You have to fix this word, which is misspelled. You have to put, obviously, the name of my channel on the contract. It was ridiculous. So I pushed back to them with this information. They say, okay, we'll fix it. We'll get back to you. Like, a week passes, and they still didn't do it. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, like, is this a serious company or not? So finally, after a week, I have to nudge them again. I sent them another email. And I even told them up front, I said, you know what, right now, honestly, one of the major things that's kind of holding me back from wanting to partner with you is because you don't respond in a timely manner at all. I send you an email on an urgent matter, fix the contract, and you take a week and you don't even do it, you know? Like, this is terrible. This is just like a horrible business practice. You're not seeming very professional. So then they apologized up and down. They said, oh, if you talk with us on Skype, we're much more responsive. We really don't use emails that much. But on Skype, you could talk to the person who was the person I'd been talking, who supposedly was a recruiter for Poltavi. Or this person is like the head, the CEO or whatever, okay? So this guy comes out and says, you can talk directly to him if you want. Okay. So, FYI, this contract was hilarious. We went back and forth basically like 4 times, no lie. It took like another 2 weeks to finally get this contract for DSP Gaming to have the correct terms, to promise the managed partnership, to promise all the right things that they had promised me that they were going to give me, okay? And finally, at the end, all they put on the contract, it said, for DSP Gaming. That's all it said. They never even put the YouTube channel web address into the contract. Therefore, that contract was never legally binding. The contract was never linked to the DSP Gaming channel at all. They never had any kind of authority to do anything with DSP Gaming, all right? So, I said, this is hilarious, but finally they had given me a contract. I didn't sign it. I did not sign the contract. I said, okay, that's great, but you also promised me that you're going to do this for KO Gaming. So before I'm willing to even consider signing any contract or whatever, now you've got to do a contract for KO Gaming. So then, within a couple days, they send me a contract for KO Gaming, and the contract's wrong again. The contract does say KO Gaming, but they've got the terms on there for DSP Gaming, for which they were going to pay me a little more, so the terms were wrong. So again, I had to go back to them, and I'm like, guys, you screwed up again. The contract is wrong. It's not what you told me it was going to be. This is not going to fly. So again, they had to fix it, and we went back and forth again. So ridiculous, right? Going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, it was about, I would say, because I'm trying to think, when this was last week when all the fiasco happened with me falling out with them and all that. So it was the week before that. It was actually the week before. So it would have been the last week of April / first week of May, somewhere along those lines, all right? Where finally they had provided me with 2 contracts that actually had the right information on them. It finally was in English, not broken English or with misspellings or whatever, any of this, okay? None of that. Finally, the contracts kind of looked similar to other contracts that I've done with other people. But, get this. Get this. They didn't have my physical address. They never asked for it. They didn't ask for my PayPal information so that they could pay me. They didn't ask for my tax ID. None of that. None of it. Then all that you're supposed to do, at least in the contract or around the same time. I know this, again, because I've partnered with other networks. So I talked to them about that repeatedly. I'm like, do you want my address? Do you want this info? Do you want that? And they never basically responded and said, yes, give it to us, or here's a form to fill out, or whatever. Never. What they did say, okay, what they did say is, go to our website, pultavi.com, and through that website, much like you've done with Curse and other companies, you can register your YouTube channels. And once the contracts are signed and approved and through, they'll link to that dashboard, and then from there, you'll be able to submit all your information. Now, I'm thinking, that's not how it worked with every other company I partner with, so this seems kind of fishy, right? But for the sake of argument, let's see what happens. So, after waiting a ton of time, right? So now we've been working with them for 2 months on trying to get contracts negotiated to the point where they make sense or whatever. I had 2 contracts, one for KO Gaming, one for DSP Gaming, promising a managed partnership on each. By the way, they still were not responding in a very timely manner. Even when I was talking to them on Skype, which I ended up making a whole new account for and being sure that I wasn't on the IP where I could be doxxed or not doxxed, the DDoS attacked or whatever when I talked to them. Basically, I had to do all this rigmarole to even contact them and get information. They still weren't responding in a timely manner. It was taking a while for them to respond to things that I was asking them and stuff, okay? By the way, at this point, still no information about Pultavi on the internet at all. It was funny. There was nothing. You couldn't find out if they were associated with any other network or whatever. And through this entire process, not once did anyone who I spoke with at Pultavi mention that Pultavi is a subsidiary of another company. Never. So there was no way to know that they were associated with any other company, okay? Okay. Fair enough. So finally, it was the last week of April, first week of May. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a shot, all right? Because right now, I know what I'm making with Curse. And before I did anything, I specifically talked with Curse, and I explained the entire situation to them from start to finish. And I said, hey guys, listen, I like being with you. I'm making decent money with you. It just sucks that all my videos are ending up getting content ID matched and claimed. Would it be possible if I go with this other company, all right, if I go with them, and then something falls through or they're full of it and they're just making it up, because I can't find any information on the internet about these guys at all. If it ends up being a scam, if it ends up being fake or whatever, or they don't live up to their promises, could I come back to you? And Curse actually came right back and said, yes, we actually for the past 2 months have enjoyed you being with us. We've made decent money. You're making decent money. Everything's been a good relationship. Therefore, we would love to have you back, but just understand we're not going to have you come back and then leave and come back and then leave and then come back and then leave. You know, if you come back, we would hope that this would be the time that you would come back and kind of stick with us. All right. I said, fair enough. That makes sense. I agree with you. I wouldn't want you to have to constantly be doing this work of partnering and unpartnering or whatever. Sounds good to me. Let's see what happens with this company, Poltavi. And then I formally requested that my YouTube channels, DSP Gaming and KO Gaming, be unlinked from Curse as of May 1st. Okay? All right. So there you go. So May 1st comes, and, you know, at this point now, by the way, at this point, I did sign the contracts. Signed the contracts, I say, because the contracts weren't legal. The contracts I signed with Poltavi didn't actually have the web addresses of my YouTube channels on them. Therefore, they had never had any legal claim to any of the ad revenue on my channels. But in the contracts were bunk, basically. But I was curious, were they serious about getting me the managed partnership? Because I would consider working with a company that's a new company and a little bit unprofessional if it means I could get back into the managed partnership. Okay, so I signed the contracts, which, by the way, the contracts were only for 30 days. They're 30-day renewing contracts. So every 30 days, you can, at any time, you could request to be released from the contract, and then the other side has 30 days to release you, or that usually when this happens, a company will just release you immediately, okay? So there you go. That's what happened. Now, Curse unlinked both of my YouTube channels on May 1st, okay? Great, and what would have happened if everything had gone according to plan and there were no issues or whatever, all right, is the channels would have been unlinked. I would have linked the channels to this Poltavi network, and then I would have had to mass monetize my videos in a bulk move so we get them all, monetized or whatever. And then they would have started making the ad revenue. And then supposedly behind the scenes, I was supposed to register for their website and give them all the tax information. And then they were supposed to immediately push me into the managed partnership. Okay. And then everything would be good. Here's what happened. Okay. I went to do this. Curse unlinked my channels. And then I went to have Poltavi link them. And by the way, I told them to do KO Gaming first. And here's why. I'm not so stupid. All right. I'm not so stupid as to think that I would just give them both of my channels, permission right away. I knew that if I was going to do this, I was going to give them KO Gaming first, have them make KO Gaming the managed partnership first, and then if they did it, then I would do DSP Gaming, because DSP Gaming is my main income on YouTube. KO Gaming, I make like nothing. I make a few bucks a month, so who cares if that channel gets screwed up or whatever for a little bit? I don't care. But DSP Gaming, I need to make money on, okay? So my original intention was never to actually link both channels right away. It was to link KO Gaming first, see if they fulfilled their promise, and then link DSP Gaming. All right? That was my intention. Unfortunately, what happened was when I unlinked my channels from Curse on May 1st, YouTube started a new system. And the new system is you now have to have a personal AdSense account approved and linked to your YouTube channels in order for them to then be approved for monetization so that you can put ads on your videos. And then once you're approved for monetization, then you can link to a new network. Now, when I went with Curse back in March, this system didn't exist. This is brand new. YouTube just instituted this in the past few weeks. Therefore, no one even knew that this existed. Like, no one had any idea that unlinking my channels from Curse was going to require me then to get a AdSense account linked to each channel so that I could then link it to Poltavi. No one knew that. Poltavi didn't know. I didn't know. Curse didn't know. No one knew about this new process. I was like basically the first person to be affected by this negatively. Okay? All right. So here's what I did. I said, okay, I'm going to make a personal AdSense account. I'm going to link it to both channels, but I fucked up, and when I fucked up, it's not that I made a mistake. I trusted YouTube's system to work properly, okay? Here's what happened. So, that was Monday, I think Monday morning or whatever, okay? I think, uh-oh. Hold on one second, everybody. I'll be right back. I'm getting an important phone call. Folks, I've got a family emergency. It came out of nowhere, and I have to deal with it now. So guess what? Sadly, the podcast has to end. I can't finish my story right now. But when I am available to finish it, which maybe later today I will, but right now, sadly, I don't even have time to upload. I have to actually leave. So I will be going out, and I will be back hopefully later today, and everything will be fine. But I have no idea right now. I'm kind of in the dark, so I have to go take care of some personal stuff, all right? It happens. It sucks. But I'll be back. I'll let everyone know what's going on later. But right now, I have to leave. So, sorry, everyone. That's the end of the podcast. I know, right in the middle of the fucking story, too. I didn't even get to finish it. But I'm not uploading these videos yet, either. I got to go take care of this. I'll be back. Sorry, everyone, that it ended like this. It will resume at some point.